again, I will say that I enjoy listening to Justice for All. And I enjoy the Black Album. I do. This album spawned so many singles. Enter Sandman, The Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam, Nothing Else Matters. I mean, all of those were music videos that ran during this time and making them just one of the biggest bands in the world. I think that the Black Album is in the history of music. It is one of the highest top-selling albums in the world. I think it broke records for being 10 years consecutively on the Billboard. It's one of the biggest metal albums of all time. And metal purists will say, well, it's just not heavy. It loses the thrash sound. And you're right. You're right. It became way more accessible. It became way more digestible. But I'm going to tell you right now, for us in 7th grade, moshing at our school dances, it was still heavy. You know, I wasn't sitting next to girls in school who were just suddenly into Metallica. It was still not the norm. Sure, us nerds and uncool kids like to mosh to it, and you older kids with your metal up your ass t-shirts and your Ride the Lightning swagger, you were harder. You had your popped jean jacket collars and you were walking around with your cigarettes and your Trans Am. You were straight up Billy from Stranger Things. I get it. You were tough. You were against the man. The lyrics were, political and just against just the atrocities of the world. And this was like Metallica going emo, James Hetfield was writing internally looking lyrics on this album. And that was just like, what? Emotional? We're going to get emotional, Metallica. And you know what? Nothing Else Matters. That wasn't even supposed to be on the album. James Hetfield had written it while they were on the road about a girlfriend. He had written a love song to a girlfriend. And he wasn't even planning on putting it on the album. And then he shows it to everybody and they're like, wow, that's pretty great. We should put it on the album. Kirk Hammett was a little, weary. I think he even said, he was like, oh my God, James wrote a song to his girlfriend. Like, we're going to put that, so it took a minute for everybody to come around. But think about how huge that song is. What a big deal it is. It was famously the song that if you were just learning how to play guitar, the thing that we all did with Nothing Else Matters is it's the open low string and then the top three, and you pick without holding anything on the fret. Sorry, my E, G, B, E. Sorry, got to list off the notes. And you pick them open without putting anything on the fretboard. And when you were learning guitar at this time, which I got my first guitar in 1991 for Christmas. And it was like the first thing that you could be like, hey, you want to learn how to play Nothing Else Matters? There's been countless parodies and videos made about that. But anyway, it was a song that wasn't supposed to be on the album. And then it ends up being on the album and it's huge. I don't even think Kirk Hammett plays on the song. I think famously he does not play on the song. And this is an example of one of the songs on the album that James Hetfield really sings, uses his singing voice. And this is kind of opens the door for him as a more vocal performer. And if you didn't know, he is shown Chris Isaak's music during this time, like Wicked Game and that music. And he turns to Bob Rock and he's like, how do I sing like that? How do I sing like that? And Bob Rock's like, well, you don't double your vocals. You don't do double tracks. You do a single track so I can really hear the nuances of your voice. And then we just need to get you comfortable and relaxed and really work together. And that is what was implemented for songs like The Unforgiven and Nothing Else Matters. Just teaching him to have a much more calm, relaxed performance with his voice. And it works.